comes a point when people stop sending emails, stop signing petitions, stop waiting for promises to be kept, and simply decide that they've had enough. And what you're about to see here is being shared online as an example of local residents coming together and saying no. They're taking matters into their own hands and saying enough is enough. According to the post, members of public gathered around in Thetford on an estate called St John's Way, and they were there to force out individuals who they don't think should belong there. And so my thought of the day is this: why are ordinary people doing what we have elected people to do on our behalf to do? Because they won't. And I would just like to add this as well, that Serco and these HMO buildings are being funded by Breckland Council, which is who you pay your council tax to. Hello, welcome to the channel. It is I, Chris Weatherkay. I hope everyone's well. So for decades we've been told that everything's okay, everything's under control, the borders are secure, that communities are safe, that local authorities are listening. More and more people believe that the reality on the ground tells a different story. When residents repeatedly raise concerns, when they report issues to councillors, when they contact their MPs, and when those concerns appear to go unanswered, eventually frustration reaches breaking point. And so the post circulating online claims that locals were successful in removing what they called illegal immigrants from an area of Thetford, just down the road. And they also claim, which I have a quite strong hedging bet that they do, that councillors are well aware of what's going on in Thetford, and those claims are serious. But regardless of whether or not that claim is accurate, the public reaction itself is significant, because it reflects something much bigger that's happening across Britain. A growing belief that those in power cannot or will not address the issues many communities are facing. And when faith in institutions disappear, people begin relying on themselves. This isn't simply about immigration. It's about confidence. Confidence in government. Confidence in local councils.
To give us the confidence that things are moving in the right direction.
Confidence in policing. Confidence that elected representatives are actually representing those who elected them. Every election brings promises of, we're listening, we'll take action, we'll protect communities. Yet it's quite apparent that those promises quietly disappear once the election ballots have been collected. Instead, they see decisions without consultation, or they do consultation at such random times when everyone else is at work that they know that it will still go through. Hotels changing purpose, but the licences on their properties stay the same. Housing pressures, local services stretched, communities saying, well, we were never asked. And those perceptions are becoming increasingly common, and perceptions influence behaviours.
Limited.
Yep.
They're on Company's House, Dun and Bradstreet.
Yeah.
Protect us! Protect our children!
Lime. Yeah. Our soldiers said the same thing in Nazi Germany. We just followed orders.
Yeah, and they paying.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was a police officer, I'd be so ashamed.
History shows that when people think that political systems have stopped listening, grassroots movements emerge. Not because people necessarily want confrontation, but because the people believe that they've exhausted every possible avenue in which to communicate with these people properly. And this is what many people describe as people power, not politicians, not party activists, not professional campaigners. Ordinary people who believe that nobody else is listening. And of course there are risks. We should abide by the rule of law, even though it's created by a bunch of parasitic, inbred,
a few moments later,
molesters of the junior variety. The rule of law matters, but so does accountability. And if people feel repeatedly ignored, if concerns are dismissed, If transparency disappears, eventually the pressure doesn't disappear, it builds, and eventually it erupts.
Right, we're all out.
And across Britain we're seeing more and more protests, larger demonstrations, packed council meetings, independent journalists documenting stories that many believe mainstream media ignore. And so for me, something has changed. The public feeling has changed. The public mood feels different. People who rarely spoke about politics are talking about it daily.
I do not want to have to be scared in my own hometown.
People who never attended demonstrations are now turning up in huge numbers. Communities are now starting to organise themselves in ways that they haven't done for years. And for supporters, that is democracy in action. For critics, it's a warning sign of a declining trust in public institutions. And perhaps both can be true. Because healthy democracies don't simply depend on election results. They depend on public confidence, which once disappeared, winning it back will become incredibly difficult. And so apparently also the police were followed, I don't know who by, and they ended up taking them first, I thought, to Mildenhall, but then they ended up taking them to another police station, and then taxis were involved and whatnot. So I'm not 100% sure what happened thereafter, but they're not in Thetford anymore. But it turns out that there is about 33 different properties in Thetford that are HMO. Now, for that to be the case, like I said at the beginning, Breckland Council have to know. Serco have to know. The council tax pays for that service. So it's up to you what you make from that. I'm certainly not preaching. There you go, I'll leave that with you. But it's about taking and cutting the head off the beast. And I think the beast in this instance is Breckland Council.
Carrying their suitcases. Look at this, carrying their suitcases. Can you believe it? Shame on you. Look at that, helping them. Helping them with the suitcases. Shame on you. Shame on you guys.